Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nara and here we're discussing astrology, spirituality, psychology, and this video is about Gemini Mars placement. If you happen to have this placement or know someone who does, then definitely watch this video and share, but let's get into it. Mars, let's start with Mars. Mars is known as a warrior planet. It rules the first house and it rules the sign of Aries. It's the aggression that we have, physical aggression usually. But when it comes to Gemini and having Mars in Gemini, translates into mental aggression, verbal abuse, a lot of sharpness, mental sharpness. There's good and bad qualities when it comes to this placement. These people have a very strong sense of making sense of the world. And if they don't, that means that that's the biggest challenge. And this is something that they will be developing, because with Mars and Gemini, since Gemini is ruled by planet Mercury along with Virgo, and it belongs to the third house of learning, and this tells me that these people constantly learn. They are themselves, and no one else has to learn a little bit each area of interest that they have, because they have a lot of different interests at the same time. They're a little bit scattered and can't really focus on just one thing or just get bored pretty easily, right? But the reason why you are engaging in so many different areas and learning experiences is because with this placement, you are a warrior of belief system. Okay? You need to learn everything a little bit and construct your own belief system, because remember, Mars is the first house and it's initiation without asking anybody, right? Aries is usually just goes and gets it, right? Whether it works out or not, we don't know, right? Looking at the aspects, but usually Aries is very impulsive. When they want something, they just go and get it without asking or considering anybody. Sometimes they can come off as self-centered and aggressive, inconsiderate, way too egotistical in their expression. Imagine this is how you are acting in your learning, in your belief systems. These people do not want to listen to anybody, but they will never allow anybody to change their opinion unless they want to change their opinion. However, sometimes looking at the aspects, we don't know, but usually these people, they can be changed only if you offer something more rational and more insightful. I also love teachers who sound articulate, who are very articulate, and who use a pretty extensive vocabulary from which they can learn. For instance, Alan Watts, right? A very sophisticated teacher. I don't know if you are into spirituality and know him, but he was just able to connect so many different. I don't know his Mars placement though. I need to research on this, but usually that's how it is. It's like people like Alan Watts, where he learned a little bit of each tradition and he was able to construct a meaning. And not only that, since Mars, Gemini is a teacher, is that you learned everything, you made connections, and you realize how the life works. You need to take it out into the public and teach them with this placement. Add more onto the mental level. Gemini is very sharp, can be argumentative if you are not agreeing with what they're saying or challenging in any way, shape, or form, especially if you guys have Mars aspect with Sun, where your ego is being threatened and there's just like too much masculinity happening here. But on a more positive note, I love this placement. It shows us that this person is way too smart for his environment to teach this to other people, because your knowledge, you may question it, but your thinking is very unique and you're more smarter than you thought. But here you need to develop certain presence exercises to be present, because you're very scattered. You get an idea, and if you don't act on it, it's going to leave you. Be mindful, but the potential is there. On a romantic level, Mars represents romance, the opposite gender, no matter, whether you're male or female having this placement. Mars, Gemini, remember, Gemini is a mutable sign. It means that it can adjust and be flexible in their thinking and in romance. What does it mean? Since they can be very perceptive like that and understand the environment and being flexible and adaptable as a mutable sign, they have this tendency to to hold two different divergent perspectives at the same time, two different feelings at the same time, be attached to two different people at the same time, because they can see the good in this person and the good in that person. They're non-committal. They can't commit. It's not easy for them to commit. Another thing, in the romantic relationships, they are valuing people who value their consciousness, who invest in their consciousness, meaning that invest in their learning, achieving some belief system, value system, who are independent thinker, unconventional thinker, someone who can keep them stimulated because it's a mental sign, and if they're bored mentally, they're going to move on to the next one, right? So that's why they're non-committal. Very flexible sign. Is just crazy how they can do that in a relationship. It's like, oh, switch immediately. They can literally change their assumption of people based on the connections they make, because they will analyze the situation and see whether they feel the same about this person or not, because their judgment is, how can I put it, subjective. Can we, like, nobody can change their minds but they themselves. Now it may also manifest in the way that they attract people who are inconsiderate of them, inconsiderate of what they think, inconsiderate of their consciousness, who are too self-focused or non-committal, like Gemini types. You think can tell you everything just to get you, just to keep you around, not really in actuality do anything, will tell you that you belong to that person and this person is being for real and is being committed to you, because you may have struggled with commitment. It can happen in both ways. Either you are this type or you met these kinds, or it can be depending on the situation, but that's the tendency. They can also be manipulative in relationships, especially if the other person is weaker in judgment. And not only that, it's just they're very argumentative and have very sarcastic expression, blunt. They can say things sometimes they don't even believe, which is a problem. With this placement, you have to believe the things you're doing, because otherwise it's going to be, your words will come back and bite you later if you don't mean what you're saying. And obviously looking at the house position, we can see if that's the case, but however, if you are a little confused about what I'm talking about, for you to succeed in life, you need to invest in your consciousness, education, communication skills. You need to develop this ability through learning how to communicate your ideas in a non-confrontational way. Otherwise, people take you the wrong way. And but you're very flexible, you can shift. Oh, that's the thing with Gemini. But at the same time, you need to get in trouble for no reason. Just know how to use your mouth and words properly so you don't cross other people's boundaries. You see how many good and bad things, traits, qualities we have at the same time. You need to identify what you really want with this placement and believe, and create a belief system that is supportive of your goals and manifestations, whatever you're trying to manifest into your life, whether it's success on a material level, on a spiritual level. It all comes down to the things you should believe in, because Mars is like a warrior, and it will be hard for you to stick with the things that will bring you success, because remember, we need discipline, and Gemini usually don't know what discipline even means. It's hard because they are so scattered. They have this mental restlessness, right? They're constantly, constantly from one to another, from one to another. They get bored easily, and if they're not mentally stimulated, they're pretty hard. But whenever we develop the qualities of a certain profession, and we become best at something, it allowed us to, because we've experienced, we found our way, and we're trying to share it with the world, whether it's in a form of writing a book, becoming a writer, an author for something. Remember, this is a Mercury influence here, third house, like learning, writing, communicating, teaching other people, and about what you've personally experienced and what you truly believe in. Because Mars is a warrior. If you're defending certain positions, you have to truly believe it and have facts to back it up. And we live in America, where that's what is valued, because you're going to shift to another perspective, whereas people are still stuck on a different perspective, just the previous one that you just stated, but you already forgot about it. Now they're going to haunt you for whatever you said. be careful with this placement. But you may also meet partners who are very argumentative and who are disregarding of you. You need to identify what you really want. And once you're in relationships, do you want commitment or don't you want commitment? Do you want to be free? Do you want to, what do you want? Open relationship, be honest with yourself. And when you identify those things, your actions should be in line with that, with those values. Let's say if you want commitment, you should recognize the aspect within you that this placement brings you into your life and your feeling state, that you are non-committal. However, there's other parts of you that want unconditional love. It can happen, right? You need to identify which one means the most, which of more priority to you than the other, and act in those lines. Because if you're non-committal but still want relationship and marriage and whatever, you need to work on that. But I hope you like this video. Said Gemini, Mars individuals possess unique qualities and abilities. There's also certain challenges attached with having this placement, very sharp, analytical. Try not to take it out in your relationships, but apply it into your work and your writing. And you can transmute energies on that basis, because remember, Mars traditionally rules Scorpio, right? So Mars rules Scorpio. It's also transformation and having a stance. But still, Scorpio itself possesses those qualities and it embodies Mars as well. The same way goes from Mars to the Scorpio. That's why they're very intense. Like this video and share if you know someone who happens to have this placement. I will be covering Taurus rising soon and moon opposite Saturn. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you found this helpful, and yeah, I will see you in my next video. Bye y'all.